So one of the fundamental concepts in this class is that there are gains from trade. And gains from trade occur in international trade even if the world price is lower than the price that a good can be produced in autarky. Autarky is a concept where a country does not trade, and we can imagine a country in autarky that is producing and consuming coffee. And so if this is the supply curve and the demand for coffee, the equilibrium quantity would be 100, the equilibrium price would be 45, and we can calculate the consumer surplus, 1/2 times 100 times 70 minus 45, which will get us 1,250, and a producer surplus, 1/2 times 100 times 45 minus 5, which would get us a producer surplus of 2,000 and a total surplus of $3,250. Now let's imagine that the country now opens itself up to world trade and that the world price of coffee is $15 a pound. That means that consumers can buy as much coffee as they want at $15 a pound, and producers can sell as much coffee as they want at $15 a pound. Well, at $15 a pound, producers are not going to be willing to produce 100 pounds. In fact, they're going to really shrink down their production. Then they're only going to want to produce 25. So the quantity supplied in the domestic market is going to fall from 100 to 25. But at $15 a pound, consumers are going to want to demand 220 pounds. So the quantity demanded will increase to 220, the quantity supplied will decrease to 25, and the difference is going to be imports. So we're going to import 220 minus 25 pounds of coffee, which is going to be 95 pounds of coffee is going to be imported each year, or each quarter, or whatever time period we think this is about. Producers, of course, are not happy with this lower price and this lower quantity supplied. A producer surplus is going to shrink down to this little triangle right here. And so producer surplus is, after the opening it up to trade, is going to be 1/2 times 25 times 15 minus 5, which is going to be 700, it's going to be $125, right? Because half of 25 is $12.50 times 10 is $125. Consumers, however, really benefit from this lower price of coffee. They can consume a greater amount that they would want to. They want to consume a greater amount at this lower price, and they do. And so our consumer surplus increases quite dramatically. It's now 1/2 times 220 times, and now 70 minus 15, right? Notice that neither the supply curve nor the demand curve have shifted. It's just that the price is now at a different point because we're now exposed to world trade. And so consumers are now going to be have a consumer surplus of $6,050. And so our total surplus, the sum of consumer and producer surplus, is now $6,175 is now the total surplus. And so we consider this to be a gain from trade, that the benefit to the consumers outweighs the cost to the producers. Yes, we're going to have fewer workers in the coffee producing industry because of the lower price, but resources are scarce, and the idea is that the country does not have a comparative advantage in producing coffee, and that it's best to shift those resources away from the industry where the country does not have a comparative advantage, in this case coffee, to other industries, and allow the consumers to benefit from the lower price and the ability to now consume more coffee at a lower price because of international trade. That the gain to society from this increased consumption more than more than offsets the loss to the producing industry because of being exposed to the lower price and to imports.